Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hope you're doing well. This is Tony. Just want to go over some of my thoughts. This is for me to put it out into the ether and to think this through. So anything I say here is just for me, not for you. So getting into it here, looks like we have a pretty decent five-wave move up just by the swings out here on the weekly. We have some divergence on the EWO, and it's all fitting nice and good in there. We don't have momentum here at the moment that matches the wave 3, and we have some divergence. This is all that you really want to look for and need when you look for a wave 5. Again, we did pass the most likely targets with the fibs, so we got past that. We passed the final channel as well, depending on where you put your 4. We've already blown up past this, so this could be considered a throw over on the arithmetic scale. If we get a drop back down into here and start moving down, that's pretty much textbook right there that we did a throw over and we're heading down for more further down. Wave 5s can expand and do all that fun stuff and trick us. On the weekly, it doesn't look like that's happening. We do have this swift move up, and usually, typically, when you get a wave 5 here, you want it to be less steep than the wave 3, and that's one thing that this has going for it at the moment here, is that this wave 3 is less steep. Depending on where your wave 5 begins over here, we got this move as being the steepest move of this whole entire impulse up. And just to show you that, so if we were 2 ends there, we got that. So this is at 72 degrees, and then let's just go the most conservative, and this is at 80 degrees. So this is a sharper move. As you can see when I move this, the number here gets less and less of a slope. So this is the steepest move. The move hasn't completed yet, so we could get some weird, delayed like wave 4, where we do a long wave forward and that stretches this out a little bit and gives us a little bit more room to get, less steep, but either a larger degree move in the works here or that this is some an extension. Of course, blow off tops, all that stuff, this is part of it. Extension in the 5th is basically just a blow off top. So we could get a steep move up, and the steeper this gets, the more likely it is that it's going to come down harder. Those are the few things that is lending to this being an extended wave, is that we do have this as a steeper move than the wave 3, which isn't typical. Typically, the wave 1 is going to be less steep, wave 3 is going to be the steepest, and then wave 5 is going to show the trend puttering out. And that's not really what's happening right here. It's a swift blow-off move up. We start getting into the higher reaches of the fib area. One fib we can look for here is a 1-to-1 off of 3 to the 4 there. So we are getting close to having this wave 5, potential wave 5 here, equaling the entire 1, 2, and 3 up, which is another indication that we're going to get an extension, or that an extension is being put in. So something to consider here. The trend is still up. We haven't broken any lower highs, but we'll dive into that. But out here on the weekly, again, it's showing a little bit of momentum loss. Wave 5 is the steepest move at the moment. But for now, we do need a little bit more momentum, a little bit more volume to come in to match, at least match, if not surpass, the wave 3 volume, which would be right over here. And then beat up and push this EWO to at least even to get more of a projected or extended wave 5. So after an extended wave 5, what we're going to be looking for here is a swift move back down. And then I would expect us to at least come down to this area of the wave 2 of the extended wave 5. And that would put us back down by like 65. But we haven't gotten there yet. That's one reason pulling the tippy top here would be a good find. Usually, if you're trading this if you're trading an impulse, you could hold up to here, but the meat of the move is back in the wave 3. So anything up here you're pushing and things are getting a little bit more risky, that we might get a reversal back down and you'll have to eat and wait and potentially lose your investment or your trade. Typically in a wave 5, you want to be out by now. Wave 5s, anything beyond the top of the wave 3 is you know, getting riskier and riskier as you go up. It's crypto, it's all that. I'm just stating what we're looking for within the method of Elliott wave. Not necessarily my personal opinion, but in this particular area, this is, you're pushing the latter end of the trend at this point. One thing we have to consider as well, too, is that we don't really have a top here yet. We have a scary move down from a big psychological number, which can be enough when we're in all-time highs and breakouts and all that stuff. We have to look for the big round psychological number that everyone's there. Everyone was looking at 100K this time around. So we got right to the edge of it and front ran it. Of course, there's different ways that could have happened. It all depended on, different factors, whatnot, but this one got front ran. Could have blasted up. It could have done a lot of things, but because of the front run, people are going to start getting sketched out and, start taking profits because they thought they missed the 100K move. So could see some scary moves here. If we are still an extended wave, the trend is still up at the moment. We haven't crossed anything too bad, which I'll go over when we look in here, meaning we haven't, taken out any pivots or done any breakup structures or anything like that at the larger degree where we have to worry yet. But as a wave 5, this could be, we're getting pretty long in the tooth here and in the wave. And then after this is completed as wave 5 again, it could be done and we head back down as a completed impulse. We're going to be looking for at least back to 50K. Wave 4 is the bottom of the bear market on some of these things. So larger degree, of course, everyone's going to say it's going to 500,000. That's great. Just going off the method here, we're going to be looking for, if this is a completed impulse, we are going to be looking for some deeper moves down to here, at least to the all-time high back here. If it is an extended fifth, we're going to be looking for a move down to the wave 2 of the extended wave, or at least a bounce, if not, the end of it. So some things I'm considering here, my thoughts getting dumped out at the bigger picture is that we're getting long here, and I'm getting nervouser just based off of the waves, not off the price or the numbers over here, just off of where we are in this larger count and how much more I want to push this before taking profits again. So I just switched over to the log scale. We still get the same metrics here on our indicators and volume and all that, but the price changes a little bit, so I've adjusted that. Most likely target for a wave 5 based off of the 1 to 3 off the 4 is up here at that level. The other way we can check for the 5th is measured move off the 1. We've already hit that, and we're actually there. So the question again, how far are you willing to push this, Tony? It's a matter of trust for the method. That's got me up here so far, so that's just the question I've been asking myself. That is why I've taken profit up here. For one, I had a plan back here when I was buying that if the price got up to 100K, I was taking profit and doing some fun, life-changing things with it, and that's what I've done. Up here, I'm still holding my bags just in case I'm wrong and I've taken profit too early. I'm happy to keep taking profit as we keep rising up and going up. So that's what I'm hoping for. But the waves, the method I keep my trust in, is telling me that this trend is getting a little bit overextended and nothing besides the steepness of this move is telling me I should stay in at the moment. Again, a pivot break, it can change a lot of stuff. So I'm still holding out for that, for the hopium that we're going to keep going up. We're pushing it just in this leg by itself, let alone it being a wave 5. We won't know for sure it's a completed wave 5 until we actually start breaking wave 1 of the wave 5 or the end of the wave 4. So wherever you think that is, that's going to be your invalidation point where we're done with the wave 5 up. So we have a lot of room. And that's what's fun about playing these higher degrees, is that your invalidation is, or your completion validation is a lot lower. So depending on where you put your 4, the only way we're going to know we're done with this wave 5 100% is when we break the end of the wave 4 and the start of the wave 5. So keep that on your list wherever you think it is. One thing to consider here is, that the invalidation is where we want to start considering looking for a larger move down or correction down at that larger degree. Until then, anything can happen within this range. Depending on where you put your final invalidation and this range here, we could do a lot of things in here. This could be it and be done, and we're heading down, and that's it. Or we could do one of these, and then we're heading back up. So we still have a lot that can happen within this range. It all depends on how much you're willing to deal with as far as drawback and drawdown and all that stuff. So that's a larger picture thoughts shotgunned out here of what I'm looking for and considering. Even on the high end here, it's 130. It all depends on this move that we're dealing with now on Monday afternoon here. And hopefully this will give us some clues without leaving us in the dust. Again, wave 5s, wave 3s can keep going and extending and, keep moving up, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, doing all that kind of stuff. But what we're looking for here is clues as to when this is going to end, and a hope and a prayer isn't always the best indicator. All right, so with all that being said, I think we have to look at what the most conservative count is here and go from there. And then you can add on, as the wave comes, we can say, okay, that is offsetting this wave too. So if we have 5 waves 2s, we're looking for 5 wave 4s up here. If we get 4 wave 4s, one of these wave 2s is not counted correctly. So all that being said, what we're looking for now, since we have some more clues up here, we have a swift wave move up here, swift anchor as a wave, potential wave 3. We have some sideways consolidation and a potential triangle here. So we have some clues that we can work with to figure out where exactly we are in this count. And again, I don't care if I nail the exact count. I just want to make sure I take profit before we start pushing back down and that the trend is over. The trend at the higher degree, we're in a wave 5. When we get to the wave 5 of 5, I want to make sure that we're potentially out by then, if that comes. So we have a big scary move down here that cuts into some of our little pivots here. We haven't officially broken anything. We're still getting higher highs and higher lows. So we don't have anything official yet. If you count this as a triangle, it all depends where your triangle ends, and that we can deal with that. We'll dig in a little bit deeper. We have to consider, from an Elliott wave perspective, where our triangle ends here and where we can look to saying that, okay, this primary move here is done. Are we expecting a larger correction? I think all this starts falling apart, and I may have talked about this before, but when we start getting down into the 85 area, that's when this whole thing falls apart. Usually in wave 4s, first of all, we're looking for a move to 236, 382, 50% for an ideal sideways wave 4. So I think we're getting into that area. Let me just turn on 236 here. So we just touched the 236. Usually, typically, for one, I'm using the fibs. I'm going to use the base channel. If I have a good one that's set up right, I'm going to use the temporary channel. Set that up there as well. Okay, I'm going to be looking for all these indicators to tell me, exactly where the ideal wave 4 should end. I'm looking for this box. And another big indicator that I like to look for too, and is pretty clutch here, is we have this little corrective or consolidation here. Wave 4s like to find support on other wave 4s of a lesser degree. So this box right here is where I'm looking for us to stay within before we head back up. Again, we could do some crazy stuff. We don't want to get too big, but anything in here, this could just all be starting off, and we could just be doing a triangle or some sideways and then move up here underneath the 100K area, and consolidating underneath here would be a good look, in my opinion. It means that we're not rejecting from this area, and then I'd be looking for a potential pop up, at least to take out all of the liquidity that's built up here, all that fun stuff, to complete as a wave 5 before we head back down. Again, all that falls apart when we start breaching 85K, in my opinion. The official for a wave 4 at 50% is down at 83. So we have some room there, but ideally I want to stay up within this consolidation, this previous consolidation up here. I think that would be the ideal look. Without getting too crazy and going even deeper down a rabbit hole here, basically over here, what I'm looking for is that we hold above 85K up here for now. If we're going to be putting in a larger degree wave 4 at this degree. I think after that, we really have to consider how many wave 2s we want to start pushing this thing back. Again, this is my conservative count. There's a couple more wave 4s that could be printed, but, a couple wave 2s here. Some of them get pretty big now that I look at it, but I mean, how greedy do you want to be? How close to the top do you want to be? These are all things to consider and what I'm considering. But I think this is the most conservative count, is that we have a wave 4 coming in to offset this wave 2. And then from there, I think we have another wave 4 here to offset this wave 2. It's right leaning toward this being an impulse up here, and then this is going to be one more. And then that's when I'm going to start getting pretty conservative on this move up and start looking for potential shorts and a trend change. All right, if you disagree, you might be right. But for now, that's what I'm looking at as my conservative count. If you have this as a diagonal up, again, we have to look at proportions. Is this 2 and this 1, where we're going to offset for a wave 4? I think most counts we're looking for a wave 4, and that's what I'm leaning this whole spiel on, is that we have a wave 4 coming in at some degree. After that, we'll judge and see how many wave 4s we have coming after that, and that's my conservative take on it. So just to show it all out, if we continue down here, again, it's still early up here, but if we head down to this section here, I'll be looking for a move up into 100K area, see how deep we get, and then there's a potential we're going to come back into this wave 4 area. So no matter what from here out, because we did finish this wave 3, this is my line in the sand, is this 84, 85 area where things get a little bit sketchy if we start breaking down beneath that. Because from this point, if the wave 4s hold as support, we have a lot of support coming in. This wave 4 degree, this wave 4 degree, that potential wave 4 degree, we have some support here. So wave 3 of 4 is done. Potential for the next higher degree up, wave 4, to find support there is what we're looking for, and so on and so forth for the higher degrees that we go up. All right. So I'd like to see a break up above 100K. If we can find that as support, that's awesome. And then we'll be looking for some further upside into the box of the higher degree wave 5. All right, so we know where we are in the larger count. We know where we are in some of the smaller degrees. Now I want to look at the 1 hour. This is as low as I'm allowed to go. We might dive into the 15-minute, but we'll play that by ear to see where we are here. We're getting a swift move up off of one of my previous supports I was looking at, so that's good. This is the ideal box I want this potential wave 4 to stay in. It could do a whole bunch of stuff in here, so we still have to figure out exactly what we think is going on in here and wait for some PA to print and look at some of these pivots here. But end of the day, with all those words being said, this is the ideal area. 85 holding would be ideal for me, depending on what comes down, of course. So I'm just going to delete this off, just to make some room and clear things up. Luckily, we have hindsight with us where we can say, okay, we have these pivots taken out. We know it can't be a impulse up anymore. We know it can be a potential completed triangle at this point. My major prices that I've been watching for the last couple of weeks have been this level here, which it's bouncing off, which is awesome. I did take a long this morning right here at the open. So we have a few support resistance levels that I've been liking here since we've been starting this whole sideways. I'm just going to get rid of this. I think these are it. So luckily we've bounced from here. We're going to find out where exactly we are in this count. I have this as everyone's favorite leading, expanding diagonal. So we're doing something like that. I think this fits pretty good for a deep retracement in here as well. So that's another check in the boxes there for what we want to look for in a diagonal. Aim up to the 786. So that all looks good in a 3-wave move. We're going to see here, this is coming up pretty quick. So hopefully this will lead us to something a little bit more clear and not an impulse down. But in either case, I'm going to put on the base channel. So this is my count at the moment. So it's either an ABC of some kind or it's a impulse down. So since we broke this with such fervor, I'm looking at this a little bit more like an impulse, but when we'll dive into that in a second, I'm just going to put this on here. So leading diagonal 1A, 2B. I'll get this at the same degree here. All right. This pivot's going to be kind of the key right now to see where we're at here. I had called in the Discord that I think 95 is going to be the key here as it showed its hand last night. And what I mean by that is that we have a move here at 95, and last night we were rejecting quite a bit from there. If this thing blasts up, that's awesome. I think we have a potential zigzag complete here, I would say. I think Sam had this as a double zigzag the other day, which it could still be, and we'll go into that. But if this pivot holds at 95,780, this could still be a wave 4 in action here, and then we're looking for a potential wave 5 down. So if I have this correct, we're going to go from the top here down to here and look for wave C3. So we already hit the 618, we tapped it there. So this could be the end of the wave 3, or it could be further down. Since we have this nice move up, we can chuck some possibilities out. But right now we kind of are in the mode for keeping this as the 3 here or the 3 here, and that we're putting in a potential wave 4. And again, I'm going the most conservative here. I would say at this point, let's say this is the 3, and we're putting in the 4, and then we're going to head down for a 5 here if everything holds. So 95 is the main level I'm watching to break. I'm going to take some profit on my long here, just because this is a troubled area. I have a support resistance. I have something that's been resistance here. So that's one reason we're getting into close to the potential of this base channel acting as resistance. And we are getting into the 50 area as well. So could have algos hiding up there. If this is the 4, again, we could be at the wave 38th right there. So there's a lot of reasons. I'm going to go ahead and just take profit. Move up doesn't look like it's 100% done yet, but because of all this stuff stacking up here, psychological number, there's a lot of reasons that I'm going to have to take a little bit of profit. So excuse me. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and watch how this plays out a little bit more. This move could be 1-2, 1-2. Don't tell my girlfriend. I'll go down to here. So we could have some 1-2 playing out here. This could be a double zigzag. This looks like a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down. So if this is some diagonal or some impulse up, this could be the wave C. And just as long as we don't pass the pivot up at 95,780, we could still be putting in some wave 4. But with this move up, I'll look at the other possibilities here now. Okay, I'm on the 1 hour. All right, so we got the move up to 95 here. I want to see if this breaks it. If this breaks this, then we have a couple options that we could be looking at. This could be the end of some zigzag, and we're going to be either heading up for some continuation, or we're going to be doing something a little bit deeper. So if this is wave 5 completing or an impulse completing, and we hold this 95.70, I'm going to be looking for a move down to the 90 level at least. Okay. So we have a 1-2, 786 is there, 618 is there. If this moves up without taking that out and we hit the 50, 382, which is right here, we're going to be looking for some continuation down to, let's do the more conservative here. Let's say we stop in here. Wave 5, most likely target is going to be back down in like the 90,000 area, 90,005. So one thing to consider here is that an impulsive move down could mean some deeper retracement is coming as well. So if we get a move down past this level or past these levels here, we're going to be looking for a wave 5 and a possible completion of a impulse. Again, all that has to happen here before we touch this pivot here at 95,780. All right. If we end up coming up and crashing through that pivot, there's a couple possibilities. One is that this could be a C wave move down completed here, and that we're doing some double zigzag up, So ABC, looking for 3A2 and 5 from there. So this could be a good contender for a potential double zigzag here as well. Could be coming in. Again, we have to break this pivot to cancel out the impulse possibility. So that could be a contender as well. And maybe it's done, and maybe that was the first subwave of a larger degree. We'll have to see how this prints and if these pivots can hold here. But this would be the ideal area, again, within that 95,000 area. And we have this pivot here as well. We have most likely target for an X wave of a double zigzag is between 382 and 50%. So we have a lot going for us in this area. Now we just need that other portion of, which is the pattern completion, and see what we get here. If this ends up playing out, again, we will be heading lower. It looks like for both scenarios here, we're going to be going, let's say this is it right here, just for now, just for projection's sake. ABC down off of the X. Let's say we get a flat looking thing up here to the 50. We're still looking down to about 89,000 here. So we'll have to see how this whole thing plays out. Again, usually when you're looking for an A wave, we want a swift move in the A, and the C wave is going to be on a less steep slope. So having this as a swift move down is a bit of a concern. Again, actionary waves, the primary actionary wave should most likely be the swiftest of the moves, except for like flats. So maybe this is all one big actionary wave, and we're going to head up for a corrective wave, and then the secondary actionary wave could come down and start tapping some of these levels down here, getting us deeper into the potential wave 4 box that I had on previously, and have us at a bigger degree wave 4. And whether that's going to be the end of the wave 4 or just the start, again, we'll have to see what prints first from there. So that's a lot of stuff I rambled through, but that's what I'm looking for at this point. It all depends on this pivot for this move down. The pivot to look for is 95,780. That's going to tell us where we are in this count. This is a pretty nice bounce off of the level I was looking at for last couple weeks. The next level down is going to be the 90K area, and then probably down 85 again is going to be the cutoff where things start getting a little bit nerve-wracking. We'll see where we are in the larger count. But I could go on and on. That's what I'm looking for: largest degree, middle degree, and here at the smallest degree to see where we are in the count. All right. This is what I'm thinking about doing and what I'm looking at. If you have any questions, concerns, definitely let me know. At the end of the day, I hope you learned something. That's the minimum I'm looking for. So if I did that, it's been a good video. Trade smarter, trade clarity. Have a good one. Take it easy.